Hello and welcome back to Redirecting. As you all know, Africa is a hot button topic right now. A lot is happening on the continent. A lot of people are talking about what's going on in Africa. And I think the whole year of return just got a lot of people stirred up right now. A lot of people excited. Even these other nations, I'm telling you, it's just off the chain. There was a video shared with me earlier today where a Gentile, a white guy, was talking about how he's treated when he goes to Africa. I'm not going to so much get into that because he goes solo, he films over there, and he loves Africa. But he just kind of talked about how they overcharge him for things and stuff like that because they know that he has money. But the one thing that he is not experiencing that a lot of so-called African Americans experience is the xenophobia. Okay, so I'm not going to get into his story. What I'm going to be talking about is more so, there's a question, there's actually a video that I'm going to share with you, and it says, what is the British doing in Kenya? What are they doing in Kenya? So what I am going to do is I'm going to share that video with you, or at least a portion of it, and then I will be right back with my commentary.
Nairobi, Kenya's capital and a key route into East Africa. This week marked the Defence Secretary's first ever visit, not just to the country, but to the entire continent. Well, it's just after 6:30 a.m. here, and Gavin Williamson has now landed in Kenya. He's on his way to the British Peace and Support Team in a suburb of the city called Karen, and that's where we're meeting him too. Ahead of him, preparations were well underway. Around a third of the courses run at the International Peace Centre are funded by Britain, and at the start of a new 2-week run, the Secretary of State for Defence was to be their guest of honour.
There are several UN, United Nations and African Union missions that are going on both to our west and to our east, most notably in Somalia and the AMISOM operation. So it is increasingly important that the troops and the countries that contribute troops to those missions have high quality training, which we believe we deliver. And we're delighted to see someone such as the Secretary of State to come and open one of our courses.
And so he arrived fresh from an overnight flight, ready to learn about the work being done to raise awareness of gender in conflict. It's an issue high on Gavin Williamson's priority list, and this was a chance to meet those working to promote it and speak to those responsible for enforcing it.
Well, it is a great honour to be here.
It's really important to me, and we can actually play a big role, and we are playing a big role in training literally hundreds of people in terms of actually how to deal with some of those issues, violence and sexual exploitation, and using that as a weapon. And so we're rolling out a programme of doing that type of training, not just here in Kenya, but right across Africa.
When it comes to peace, women are often missing from the top negotiating tables. Britain is funding the trainers trying to change that in Africa.
At the grassroots level, we see the women coming in strongly to advocate for peace. Look at the case of Liberia, look at the case of Sierra Leone. So it's very important if we can build the capability of the women so that we are able to harness that skill that just remains at the grassroots level.
Key to any ministerial visit, proof that you've been there. And of course, a slot with the Kenyan press. But when you're Defence Secretary, time is precious. And as Gavin Williamson left for a private meeting with Kenya's Defence Minister, there was time to reflect on first impressions of the UK's still rather new Defence Secretary.
So, it's very good. He was saying it's the first time that he's been on the continent, first time that he's been to Kenya. So I think this is a really good place for him to start on his African adventure, to understand the UK's equity that we have on the continent. To understand the UK's equity that we have on the continent. To understand the UK's equity that we have on the continent.
Now, as you see, They always have this mission that they're on. There's all of these missions in Africa. Everyone wants to go there to help, right? They want to go there to help. But if you listen closely, the real reason for them being there always seems to surface. And so with this particular clip, that was the one thing that stood out to me more than anything, right? They say they're there to keep peace. They're there to do this, that, and the other. But as I spoke about in another video, you would have people from Western nations, the British and all these other nations, UN peacekeepers. They go over there and they leave their seed behind, raping the African women, fathering children with them, and things of that nature. But they say they're there to keep peace, right? Now, in this video, they talked about how they're there to kind of regulate and make sure things are not happening that shouldn't be happening, blah, blah, blah. But the thing that stood out the most to me is when he says they're checking on British equity in Kenya. In other words, they are checking on what they believe belongs to them. They are there to take care of their interest, okay? When you hear all of this stuff about they're there to help, if your help comes with women with big bellies giving birth to babies 9 months later, being ostracized by their families, in some cases their husbands leave them because they can't deal with the shame of their wives being raped by white men, are we to believe that your presence is for our good? When I say our, I know I'm not African. I know I don't live there. I'm talking about indigenous black people. Are we to believe that it was for our good that you were there? So essentially, the front to me is that we're here to help. As long as you do what we want you to do. But we have interest here. We're here to check on our equity, on what belongs to us. That is our goal. That is our purpose. And we as so-called black indigenous people worldwide need to understand this. I know that it's easier said than done when you have someone who's bringing in goodies. They're bringing in gifts. They're bringing in food and all kinds of things that appeal to you. When they bring these things in and you're hungry, in some cases they're bringing in technology. There was a video done some years ago where you would have the French, they would go over there and they would actually teach the young girls that it was okay to have feelings towards other girls. And they were really pushing that agenda. And what they were giving them were free laptops and other goodies. And they were saying, there's nothing wrong if you have feelings for another girl. Explore those feelings. This is what they were telling them, right? And so a lot of the young women came forward and they were explaining, this is what they're saying to us. So just because they're coming over there with missions and they're saying, look, we're here to help. We're going to give you computers. We're going to build education centers. We're going to have state-of-the-art equipment here and there. And the best teachers are going to show your young ladies how to be important in this world. But what we want you to do first is we want you to be indoctrinated with our foolishness. We want you to understand that there's nothing wrong with being a lesbian. So essentially, is it really help? Is it really help? And our people, because they are in dire situations all around the world, they fall for the okie doke all of the time. And like I said, I know it's easier said than done to say, just let it go and turn away. But at some point, we are going to have to stand for righteousness worldwide. We are going to have to put our righteous foot down and say, no, I don't care what kind of gifts you're offering. I don't care about your computers and laptops and your technology. I don't want your gifts if it means selling my soul. That's what I feel like a lot of our people have done worldwide. And these subjects, I feel like they have to be talked about. Sister Deborah is getting accused of all kinds of things, causing division, racism, all kinds of things. I have black people, white people, mixed people, all kinds of people saying I'm racist for talking about these things. When you have all kinds of hate being thrown at us, what I'm trying to do is wake up my family. worldwide. Those who are asleep, those who are not fully aware of what's going on, those who don't understand the system of white supremacy worldwide. I am trying to do my job of waking my people up. And so many others are doing that as well. The scripture says that in the last days he's going to pour out his Ruach HaKodesh on all flesh, that our sons and daughters, that his sons and daughters shall prophesy. That means that we are all to speak and tell the truth, according to what the word says. And right now the truth is being talked about as if it's the enemy. The truth is being labeled as hatred and divisive. But the truth will always be. The truth is what it is, and the truth must be told. The scripture says, and ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. And so what we're talking about here again is Africa, a very hot button topic. A lot of people are talking about Africa. A lot of people are excited about going to Africa. But whose hands control Africa? That is the big question. Many of us know the answer to that, but we want to ignore it. We want to ignore the fact that Africa is not controlled by Africans. Okay? It is not controlled. Even though we see the Chinese just buying up Africa. They're not just buying up Africa, they're buying up other regions too. They're buying up the world, it seems. But we want to ignore that because of a desire that we have. But we cannot ignore the handwriting on the wall. Okay? We've got to get with the spiritual program and understand what the Most High is telling us to do in these last days. Let him be your guide. Okay? Let him direct you. Don't let this come to Africa, come. Don't get hypnotized by that, family. Okay? Don't get this call to Africa thing mixed up without investigating. Okay? All I've ever said was understand and know what's going on. Investigate. Okay? Because the powers that be are still very much present there. It's not just the Asians or the Chinese. You have the Arabs there. You have those from India. You also have the white Europeans that are still there, very much present. As a matter of fact, the majority of South Africa is still owned by who? 80%. About 80% of South Africa is still owned by Europeans. So it is what it is, family. What are the British doing in Kenya? They are there to check on their equity. And with that, I will say shalom. Be sure to ring the bell to be notified of new uploads on this channel, and also comment, share, like, and subscribe.